Welcome to Lucent Talks. Today we are hosting a language scientist.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here with you today. And my name is James Williams. I'm from California, San Francisco. And I graduated at the University of California, Los Angeles, and actually I work there right now. I'm a language scientist. And it was a pleasure to have me here.
What is the best method to learn a language and how could you manage learning for different languages?
All right. So first of all, I would like just to clear up things here, and clear this team off. And actually, I have been asked this question pretty much like too much. And the answer is there is no specific method, or there is no one method to teach English as a foreign language or English as a second language. Well, the thing is, like, adopting a method or adopting a strategy to teach English as a foreign language, it basically depends on the learner. But actually, we have pretty much like set of methods to teach language. So the teacher, I do believe that the teacher should be improvising all the way and integrating different methods together. For example, I have seen like in different countries uh, teachers that you just use the grammar method or the translation method. But actually, it's not that much good or that much fruitful for the students to learn the language because we basically language scientists or even translators, we use this method specifically to work on or translate literary text. But when it comes to teaching, I may suggest the natural approach or the natural method. And this method was basically established by Stephen Krashen. Stephen Krashen established this method back in the 70s or 80s. And yeah, back in the 70s, early 80s. And it is basically working on, or, the acquisition of a language, or especially, of course, your case, for example, I teach English as a native language. You teach French, another person teach Italian, another person teach Persian, whatever the language is. It basically works on acquisition or acquiring the language in a pretty much natural way. And that's exactly what we as native speakers already have had in our lives before. We learned our language in a very much native and pretty much natural way. So why don't you learn another language in a natural way in the same time, with a little bit of an improvisation, a little bit of an addition, understand? That's the thing that, that this, approach is trying to tell or trying to work on. And actually, there is something we call it the modern model. The modern model in Stephen's Krashen, it's often, a bit of an application of the theoretical part of the method or the approach into the language itself or the language teaching itself in the classroom. And actually, this make the, for example, let me give you an example how to apply it. Well, let's say that there is some kind of like activities that you can apply in the classroom. Why don't you show the kids or the students things as are in real life? They are in real life. For example, you show something in your environment around you, and you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to translate it. You don't have to translate what is let's say what an X, what is an skier, what is a flag, you understand? You can just show it, you understand? That gives you pretty much chance to use, all those kind of like, natural things to show them the kids, and they're going to learn and memorize or remember it forever. Not just memorizing, but they will remember it forever because they have learned in the natural way. They saw it, they touch it with their own hands, they saw it with their own eyes in a sense. So it's kind of like an experience. And we all know that, learning through an experience is way better than just, learning of a made up environment. For example, let's talk about the activities, how you applied activities in this method or, in the classroom according to this method. Stephen Krashen, he added something pretty much, nice and great that I do it use it personally. I do use it personally, understand, in the classroom. For example, and this method, this method is basically also focused, I mean, regarding to the activities, speaking of the activities, okay, of let's say you personalize the language itself. What does it mean personalize? It means that the student learn the language according to his or her preference. I mean, if they like if they like music, so you can teach more of music. If they like sports, you can teach more of sports. So you can personalize it as much as you can. So it's pretty much flexible. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, you can teach their favorite music, their let's say their favorite art, piece of art, or kinds of arts. Okay, sports, TV shows, and even because that's actually pretty much natural in our life that we face problems and we should figure out these problems. So in the natural method of Stephen Krushan, this method is basically also focusing on the problem solving, you understand? So you are going to expose the students to, let's say, problems that they face in life, in real life, you understand? And they're going to figure it out and solve it in pretty much natural way, which is basically how they face or how they actually behave or act in their native language. So if you do expose them into such problems, such issues in the target language, which is English in our way, in our thing. So they're going to be able to use their language to fix these problems, which they are going to face it somehow, somewhere in a different time, not in the classroom, but maybe later after their graduation or after they travel to another country and know how exactly to figure out using English.